Hello and welcome to SteveOnPathways, my video blog designed to help guide you through the Pathways learning experience based on my own experience. Today is episode number 3, Your First Project. On the agenda today, we'll be talking about launching your first project, which is the Icebreaker, navigating a project, accessing your evaluation for your first speech, the Icebreaker, and doing the second assessment. To access your path on Pathways, you will need to log in to Toastmasters International. This is the page that you will go to, and then you will want to go to Basecamp. From there, the next screen that should show up here is 3 different tiles. The center tile is the access that you'll need to get to your Basecamp, and Basecamp is where you access all your educational materials. So in this case, I would click on Go to Basecamp. Next, you should see a screen something like this. I like to access my education transcript by clicking on this tile. There are other ways to get to that same point as well, but this one seems to make sense to me, so that's how I usually do it. Once you click into your curriculum, you'll see everything that you've downloaded off of the Pathways or off of the tutorials for future reference. In this case, my path is innovative planning, so I'm going to open that curriculum and go into my curriculum. Here you'll see all the projects that are in level 1, starting with the Icebreaker, which we're going to talk about today. One of the things you'll notice on my particular page, I've already done all these projects, so once they're completed, you'll see a little check mark here. So that's important to know so that you can see how far you've done, what you've done and what you've completed. But in this case, I would click on Launch and go right into the Icebreaker. Now, the Icebreaker is important for a couple of different reasons. One of the reasons is all the modules are laid out with the same type of navigation. So if you're new to Pathways and perhaps not even very familiar with how to navigate through various education programs that are available on the web, going through this navigation will help you understand how to move through your path. So it's important to just kind of go through this and learn a little bit more about it. Obviously, advance arrows, return arrows, move your screen forward or backward through the program. So I'm not going to go through all these, but it is important for you to know how to go through and move through a learning module. The other thing that is important about your first Icebreaker, your first speech, your Icebreaker, is that it helps introduce yourself to your fellow club members. It also helps demonstrate for yourself what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. So that's very important to know, so you know what to be focusing on as you go forward. One of the things I like to point out to people is at the bottom of the page, there's this, what I refer to as a jump menu. There's a little down arrow here, and if you click on that, all these different stops within the program show up and helps you to jump around in the program once you get familiar with how the learning modules are laid out. I wouldn't suggest that the first time you open the module, just go through it, see one slide after the other, so you can view things in their logical order. But the jump menu is a time saver if you are familiar with the module and know exactly where you want to go. In this case, I've jumped to one of the critical things about a project, and that is, where is your evaluation? How can you print your project? And where are the other materials that you might need? Some of these are sprinkled throughout the learning module, but when you've written your speech and you're ready to give your Icebreaker to your club, you will need to make sure that you have your evaluation. And you can find that here under your evaluation on the jump menu. So if I would open this, I would open up the evaluation, and you will see that it is an editable PDF. So what that means is that any of these editable PDFs that are within the learning modules, if you go in and start making changes in these blue areas and then leave the PDF, they will not be saved. What you need to do is download the PDF, save it someplace that you can access it later on your own system, and then go in and make your edits and save them back to your own system. Otherwise, they will not be there if you don't take that extra step. The other thing that's nice about the editable PDF is if your club is able to distribute the evaluations, get to the evaluations to their evaluator digitally, they can go right into open the document and put in their comments and save it and send it back to you without having to take the step to print it out, write in their comments, and then scan it back in and send it to you. One of the other things I'm going to mention about the evaluation is why it's important is that before you give your speech, you want to make sure you've looked at the evaluation so you know what you're going to be evaluated on. Usually there's a general comment section for your evaluator to tell you things that you've excelled at and tell you things that you might want to work on. And then also this rubric to evaluate different elements like clarity, eye contact, and so forth as a result of your speech. The other thing that's important, as I said, your icebreaker especially, but every speech, is to think about, well, what have I learned? In every speech, there is an assess your skills before and then assess your skills after. Obviously, assess your skills before means you're going to be assessing different elements that you might learn in this particular module before doing the module. So this is early in the learning module that you'll come across assess your skills before. But then you're going to be, throughout the module, you're going to be working on your speech, writing your speech, giving your speech. And once you've given your speech, gotten your evaluation from your evaluator, you come back into the learning module and assess your skills after. And this is important for a couple of reasons, but obviously it's self-reflection as to what you might have learned or what you might not have learned and thought that you knew, but also by completing this assess your skills after, it signifies to the software that you're done with your learning module and you're ready to move. You've done your project and you're ready to move on. And once you do submit the assess your skills after, you'll see this congratulatory screen so you know that you've finished your project. And you'll also see that little check mark on the project in the learning module in your curriculum. So today we've talked about launching your first project, the Icebreaker, and how to navigate a project. It's important to learn how each project is laid out because they're all laid out pretty much the same way. Accessing your evaluation, the importance of the second assessment. So the next thing I want to talk about are project essentials. There are a few things that we really need to focus on, and it will be important to focus on those and talk a little bit more about that. We'll see you next time.